Cemeteries are supposed to be places of rest, where we honor the dead. But sometimes they hold secrets that refuse to stay buried. Tonight, I'm diving into a terrifying tale of unexplained events at a local cemetery, a place where the ground itself seems to breathe with malice. This is Unexplained Terrifying Events at your local cemetery, and it's going to hook you until the very last word. I first stumbled across this story while researching haunted places in New England, sifting through obscure forums and old newspaper archives. A blog post caught my eye, written by a groundskeeper from Concord, New Hampshire, claiming his local cemetery was anything but peaceful. The details were sparse but haunting: strange lights, voices in the dark, and a presence that drove people away in terror. I dug deeper, tracking down police reports, witness interviews, and even a local historian's account, piecing together a story that's as real as it is horrifying. This happened in 2016 at Blossom Hill Cemetery, a historic graveyard in Concord, and it's a tale that's left a mark on everyone who's stepped through its gates after dark. Let's go back to the fall of 2016. To Concord, a small city where history lingers in every cobblestone street. Blossom Hill Cemetery, established in 1825, sprawls across 20 acres, its weathered headstones shaded by ancient oaks. It's a place of beauty by day, with granite angels and ivy-covered mausoleums, a spot where locals walk their dogs or pay respects. But at night, it changes. The air grows heavy, the shadows deeper, as if the cemetery is watching. Groundskeeper Paul Delaney, a 52-year-old widower, knew this better than anyone. He'd worked at Blossom Hill for 15 years, tending graves, clearing leaves, and locking the gates at dusk. Paul was a practical man, not one for ghost stories, but even he admitted the cemetery felt different after sunset. The trouble began in September, when Paul started noticing odd things during his evening rounds. He'd find fresh flowers left on random graves, wilting by morning as if burned. Footprints appeared in the soft earth, small and barefoot, leading to a 19th century mausoleum owned by the Whitaker family, then vanishing at its iron door. Paul checked the lock, rusted, untouched for decades, but the footprints returned nightly, always stopping at the same spot. He mentioned it to his co-worker, Maria, who laughed, suggesting kids playing pranks. But Paul wasn't convinced. The prints were too deliberate, too small, like a child's, and no kids lived nearby. By October, the disturbances grew stranger. Paul heard whispers while raking leaves, faint but clear, like a crowd murmuring just out of sight. He'd spin around, his flashlight cutting through the fog, but the cemetery was empty, the headstones silent. One night, he saw a light, a pale, greenish glow, flickering near the Whitaker mausoleum. Thinking it was vandals, he approached, his boots crunching on gravel. But the glow vanished, leaving only a cold spot that chilled his bones. The next morning, he found the mausoleum door ajar, its lock intact but unlatched. Inside, the air was stale, the stone coffins undisturbed, but a child's handprint, smudged in dirt, marked the wall. Paul slammed the door shut, his heart racing, and reported it to the cemetery board, who dismissed it as weathering. The incidents escalated, drawing others into the nightmare. Sarah Mitchell, a 27-year-old photographer, visited Blossom Hill one evening to shoot a project on historic graves. She stayed past closing, the gates left open by mistake, and set up her tripod near the mausoleum. As she adjusted her camera, she heard giggling high and childlike, echoing from the trees. She called out, thinking it was a lost kid, but no one answered. Her camera's viewfinder flickered, showing a small figure, a girl in a white dress, her face blurred, standing by a headstone. Sarah snapped a photo, but when she checked, the image was blank, just static. Then her tripod tipped over as if pushed, and her flashlight died. She ran, her breath hitching, feeling eyes on her back until she reached her car. The next day, her camera was fried, its memory card corrupted. Sarah shared her story online, sparking local buzz. Teenagers, drawn by the rumors, snuck into Blossom Hill at night, daring each other to approach the mausoleum. One 16-year-old Jake Carter recorded a Snapchat video at midnight, his friends giggling behind him. The clip, later posted on Reddit, showed Jake nearing the mausoleum, his phone's light shaking. "Come on, ghost girl," he taunted, then froze. The video captured a whisper, "Go away," and a shadow, small but distinct, darting across the frame. Jake's scream cut the audio, and the clip ended. He told police he felt a hand, cold and tiny, grab his wrist, pulling him toward the mausoleum door. His friends dragged him back, all three sprinting to the gate, their faces pale with terror. The police, responding to trespassing calls, investigated. Officer Emily Ruiz, a 10-year veteran, patrolled Blossom Hill one night in November, her cruiser idling by the entrance. She'd heard the stories but dismissed them, expecting bored kids. At 2 a.m., her radio crackled with static. Then a voice, soft and female, said, "She's here." Emily checked her equipment, working fine, but the cemetery was silent, the fog thick. As she walked the path, her flashlight caught a figure by the mausoleum, small in a white dress, standing still. Emily called out, but the figure vanished, leaving a trail of frost on the grass. She found the mausoleum door open, a faint giggle echoing inside. Emily, trained to stay calm, backed away, her hand on her holster, and radioed for backup. The door was locked by morning, but she never patrolled alone again. The cemetery board, pressured by the incidents, hired a local historian, Dr. Margaret Klein, to research Blossom Hill's past. Klein uncovered a grim history. The Whitaker Mausoleum, built in 1873, housed the remains of Edward Whitaker, a wealthy merchant, and his family, including his daughter Clara, who died at 9 in 1880. Clara's death was mysterious, officially pneumonia, but whispers of neglect or worse swirled. Servants claimed Clara's spirit haunted the Whitaker estate, her laughter heard in empty halls. After the family moved away, the mausoleum was sealed, but groundskeepers reported sightings, a girl in white, crying or giggling, near Clara's tomb. Klein theorized Clara's restless spirit was tied to her father's guilt, perhaps a cover-up, her grave disturbed by the cemetery's shifting soil. The paranormal activity peaked in December. Paul, nearing retirement, was alone, locking the gates at 6 p.m. As he passed the mausoleum, he heard scratching, frantic, from inside. He froze, his keys jingling, and called out, "Who's there?" The scratching stopped, replaced by a sob, childlike and desperate. Against his better judgment, Paul unlocked the door, his flashlight trembling. The air inside was freezing, the walls slick with condensation. His light caught a figure, small, in a tattered dress, her back to him. "Clara?" he whispered, recalling Klein's research. The figure turned, her face pale, her eyes black voids, and screamed, a sound that shook his bones. Paul stumbled back, the door slamming shut, locking him out. He quit the next day, refusing to return. The board called in a medium, Lisa Grant, recommended by a local church. Lisa, a quiet woman with a history of paranormal work, spent a night in Blossom Hill, armed with sage and a recorder. She sensed a presence, not just Clara, but something older, tied to the land. A Native American burial ground beneath the cemetery, disturbed by 19th century expansion. Her recorder captured EVPs. "Clara, leave," and a low growl, "Inhuman." At 3 a.m., her sage went out, and she saw the girl standing by a tree, her dress stained, her hands clawing the air. Lisa prayed, asking Clara to find peace, and felt a release, the air lightening. The next day, the mausoleum door was sealed with a new lock, and the disturbances lessened, though some claim the giggles linger. Blossom Hill is still there, open to visitors, but the Whitaker Mausoleum is off-limits, its door chained. Locals avoid it, and groundskeepers work in pairs. Sarah's blank photo, Jake's video, Emily's frost trail, they're part of Concord's lore, shared in bars and online. I've studied the EVPs, read Klein's notes, spoken to a retired cop who backed Emily that night. He felt it too, the weight of something watching. This is unexplained, terrifying events at your local cemetery, a reminder that some graves don't rest, some spirits don't forget. On the Nightmare Archive, we chase the truth, no matter how horrifying. So, what's in your cemetery? What's moving in the dark? Visit at dusk and listen, because this nightmare is real, and it's closer than you think.